Just don't mind us. We're fine. I promise. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. So, you are not on my screen. There he is.
Far away.
He's far away.
I don't like it.
Holy good God.
Yep. Up, bald head. There we go.
I'll fix it later, I swear. Technical difficulty.
Sure.
Shut up.
Well, now that you've already had the fun with it and you didn't even get to start the podcast with welcome to episode 2, go ahead and fix your mistake.
No, you do it. I did it last time. It's your turn.
Nope.
No. No, it's your turn. It's your turn. No, I did the first one. Now it's your turn.
No, I did the first one. Talking about the inaugural episode, and you were like, that's a big word.
Are you sure?
Anyways.
I don't recall this, but I'll take your fucking word on it.
Fair enough, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the PorchFitcks.
Hey, here we go.
For those of you that were here last week, welcome to yet another absolute shit show. We did have plans to have a guest tonight, but due to miscommunication and scheduling issues, that's apparently not happening. So while I do apologize for that, we are going to keep this more of a general freeform type of conversation between the two of us and kind of informing you of things that we are aware of that are happening, things that are up and coming, and we're going to go over a little bit of the guests that will be coming onto the podcast. So just very more general information type of thing going on with this, a little bit of discussion, probably absolute stupid shenanigans from the two of us, because otherwise it wouldn't be what we do. But other than that, welcome everyone. Appreciate those that are here for the live. Again, as a casual reminder, during this, we will not be responding to chat terribly often, but once the recording is done, we will obviously go back into the Q&A portion of things and just continue the general discussion with all of you and be much more interactive with all of you wonderful people. Now, eventually, go right ahead there, Nick.
Well, what are we going into first? You kind of branched all over the place there.
Yeah, I know. Your brain can pick it up. It's fine.
It's fine. My brain is this anyway. I don't know why I'm still doing this. I'm going to stop now. So, shut up. Stop judging me. I see it in your eyes.
Hey, you know what? You never said anything. Staff it.
I was actually just about to. I was going to ask you to remove the mic. That's fucking awesome. That's awesome.
And then on the back, I 100% have the
certified, baby.
Certificate airhead.
Certificate.
Because the director was an absolute genius.
Because the school is certified.
Yes, absolutely.
Regardless of what anybody.
Why all of us are super, super duper awesome.
So because somebody asked about this last time too. His camera on my end during the recording is blurry because he has blurry camera on for the Discord call. On his end, for his stream and his recording, he doesn't have blurry camera mode on. So that's why that's happening. If anybody's curious, it's not a me thing; it's a him thing.
And now it's fixed.
it's a him thing. See, okay, now we're good. Now you can't complain. Although knowing people in my goddamn chats, they'll be complaining anyway. It's fine though. It's why I love them. So let's start with the type of guests we have going on, because that is one long, extensive list right now. We are at, last I looked at it, somewhere between 18 and like 22 people have signed up for the list.
Yeah, I think that's about accurate.
I'm 90% sure it's around where we're at. I think it's closer to 18, but I haven't checked it today, and I know we're going to be posting it out again within the next couple of days of this recording and podcast. So right now, that list is quite mixed, to say the absolute least. It is very so a mixed bag. We got airheads on there. We got airheads that also went to other programs. We have people from other programs that then came to air. People that have never been to air or Academy of Ivy Ridge. but went to like 2 different programs outside of Ivy Ridge. We have supporters, we have locals, we have. I think we have a family member, but I'm not 100% sure.
From what I know, we have some Ivy Ridge survivors. We have a couple of survivors from other programs. We have supporters in general, and I believe we have a parent on there as well.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a variety of different people that we're going to be bringing on and talking about it. So obviously for the program survivors, when we're going in there, we're going to be talking to them directly about their time in Ivy Ridge. When were they there, their experience in general, comparing what their take on the documentary was, because that's the whole reason that all of this is really coming to be right now, compliments of the program documentary. Going forward from there, it would just be if they were in another program, kind of talk about the comparison between the two. Our first guest that we were supposed to have is actually a member that went to 2 separate programs. So while we are hoping that they'll still be our first guest for it to kind of segue into the additional programs, if not, we'll get them on eventually. But we have a very wide variety of guests that will choose to come on and just kind of have this general discussion. We're not trying to go forward with this like interrogation route. I would much rather this be like a kind of a laid back conversation. Well, I know like there are going to be some things that may hit a little bit heavier, especially with some of the topics that may come up, if anything, in regards to the sexual allegations and beyond. I would rather this be more laid back and casual than an interrogation, so to speak. So that's my take on all of this. And obviously the sign up sheet for the podcast is going to be continued to be posted. So we're taking guests that are, whether literally could just be supporters, spouses, siblings, kids of a program survivor, if they're old enough and if the parent is there with them, type of situation. Like we're our goal here is to attempt to cover everything as much as humanly possible, as much as we're able to do, and just get the word out more.
And there's going to be a set of general questions. Those questions are going to be: have you watched the program, i.e. the documentary, the program, on Netflix? Depending on that answer, the next general question would be: when you saw it, what feelings did that invoke in you, or what emotions came up for you? What did you learn from it? What did you experience while watching it? Those sorts of things. And then from there, as we introduce the guests, we'll already know whether or not they were in a program, what programs they were in. And then from there, that's when after we get over that general introduction and those literal 2 general discussions, that's when we'll dive into the further questions. Either comparing what's wrong, comparing the 2 between like similarities, where did they differ, overall experiences, and then diving into more of the personal stuff, if our guests are so willing to do so. If not, then they don't have to. But, talking about whether or not they were essayed or whatnot, keeping it lighthearted, but also getting the information out there while also making sure we spread the awareness of it. And if they feel so inclined to call out certain things, then they can, as long as it's something that's already been made public, which is something else we're going to be talking about today, because there's been a lot of videos that came out that have been made public lately. We're going to touch on that here in a few. But yeah, that's the general direction that this is going to go. That's how we want to go about this. Because the last thing any of us want to do is sit here and be fucking interrogated by like the Gestapo.
Well, at the same time, I mean, you look at it like this. We have the general questions, but I'd much rather this allow like the discussion with the individual guide where this is going to go, because if you have your set line of questioning and all that, then it gets repetitive, it gets boring, and nobody really wants that. Now, while we'll have guidelines of the questions that we're going to go over, ultimately, if the conversation goes somewhere else, then it goes somewhere else, and I'm completely on board with that as long as it's within reason and we can still publish it.
Yeah, and I mean, if any of you guys have been asked to do interviews or whatnot, and have done them, or have spoken to those who have, like for instance, me and Jack have done one together, and it was very much so more of a general discussion. They had their questions lined up and they'd let us say our piece, but then they'd have to cut because we have to get to this next question. We have to get to this. Whereas when you're doing an interview with somebody who's writing an article like AP News or The Sun or any of these other,
you did one for AP News, didn't you?
I did one for AP News. I'm still in the middle of doing one for The Sun. He still has
How'd the AP News one go?
I just got my name in it. So it's literally the whole thing's about another survivor, and then like my name's just like thrown in it, like Nicholas Chiafalo was a victim of sexual assault and abuse and physical abuse at Ivy Ridge, and then continued to a different fucking, like, that just continued throughout the article. I was literally this big on the website. It says my name and then like a sentence and a half of line, it felt like, and then it was just like moving on.
Lovely.
Dude, it was hilarious.
I feel like, because you had talked about it for a little bit, so like I feel like they asked you a lot more than what they published.
I was on the phone with him for like 4 hours. And the guy was just rattling questions, talking to me about a whole bunch of different stuff. And then, two-liner. It was pretty funny.
I mean, it's quite simply just pretty much the same thing that happened to us when we did the thing on Banfield, on the national. We went in. It was such a weird type of situation. They brought us in, they bring us into each 4 of us in a separate Zoom call, where we can hear the broadcast that was going on, and they're like, boom, they put the 4 of us in together, but they wouldn't put us in the same room, obviously, I'm assuming to prevent us from cross-talking, which would probably a really smart idea. And they just kind of went through them. They gave each person like a general question, but each time they would ask a question, they were like, all right, did you experience any of this? Did you experience this? Did you experience this? And then they were kind of just going around, and then they'd swap people, do the same thing, swap to another one, do the same thing, and then go to the next one. But beforehand, they sent us like a message with like 3 questions that they said that they were going to ask us, and it totally did not happen.
No,
like not even close. We each got like a question, and then they went into the topic of the sexual abuse. From everything that was brought in by Amy Ritchie in the documentary, and bounced around, and then they were like, all right, well, that's all the time we have for, and thank you very much.
And
then
we got yeeted. We got yeeted out of the fucking calls. Me and Jack called each other.
They just kick us out. We messaged each other like, bro, I feel used.
He messaged me. He goes, did you get yeeted too? And I called him. I was like, yeah, I guess they just kicked us. He goes, I feel used. I was like, I feel achy. And I did. I felt weird. Like, it felt so unnatural. It's not even funny.
And they wound up doing the same thing. So they wound up putting out this clip on YouTube, and it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours later. And I saw the clip, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, there it is. And we go to look at it, and it was the other 2 people in the interview, and it didn't show me or Nick. And we were like, yeah, that's fair. That sounds all right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Because, I mean, especially if you look at like the thumbnail for it, I just look like I just look angry. Jack looks completely unfucking abused. So, like, he just looks unamused, and then the other 2 are just kind of like,
yep,
like they're present, they're there. Me and him were just kind of like.
I feel like everything that's kind of happened with these interviews, like, I understand it's been a hot topic and it kind of popped up now, but it's like at the same time it's insulting because
a little bit.
A lot of us when we first got out, we were trying to like talk about this and raise awareness to it, and then at the same time the programs were still functioning and still running, at least the one that we were in. and there would always be some type of rebuttal for everything that we said, or the program didn't work for them, and it would just quiet it, and it would shut it down, and we'd be sitting there, and I was like, I know I got discouraged back then when I was trying to make parents see what was happening. And I guess I mean, to lead into the one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up for this, just to let you know that what we're doing is actually having a positive outcome. So as I said, back when we first got out, trying to talk to any of the parents and get this stuff situated and getting them to, listen to what was happening, none of them cared at the time. But since the documentary has dropped and we've been doing this and we've been talking about this, I had someone close to me actually reach out to me after they watched the documentary like last weekend, and they reached out to me and was talking to me a little bit, asking a couple of questions, and it's like an hour or so later, I got a message from them with them thanking me, going, just from watching it and talking to you and you having this discussion with me just solidified that what we were going to do, we're not going to do. So we're not going to send our son to one of these programs. And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Thank God. I was like, it's one kid saved, guaranteed. So I was ecstatic. But this goes to show that even just something simple like this and having this discussion with you and the documentary going out and talking to the supporters and the people in chats and the people online, it may be something small that we're doing, because we don't exactly have a large voice, but
no, we don't.
It's working. It's something.
I mean, it's doing more than that. I mean, we touched on it on our inaugural episode. But I mean, I've gotten DMs since that News Nation interview that we did, because I mean, a ton of people had seen it. Like, the views on that were over 8K within like 2.5 hours, not even. And I ended up I had like 15, 20 DMs from people I didn't fucking know, and a handful of them were other men. Like, hey, I really appreciate you speaking up. I was a victim too. I've never said that to anybody. You're the first person I'm telling. I'm like, oh, all right, oh, like, time out. Hold on, I gotta process this shit. And then I had some sweet older woman DM me about her grandson and how he was sent to a program, and how his parents are trying to send him back to a program, and she's gonna show them the interview, and she's gonna give them my info if that was okay. I was like, yeah, sure. Give it, go. Here's my number. Here's this. I ended up getting text messages. I got like, that kid ended up not going back. And then I had like another grandmother call me about their grandson. One messaged me about their great nephew or great nephew. Like, she was his great aunt. And like, I was like, bro, what is happening right now? I've had a local reach out to me. She wants to end up getting on the podcast. I gotta send her a message later with the sign-up sheet. She's had some experiences with staff after the Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'll be good.
Like, but she reached out. Yeah, like, she reached out, and I wasn't the only one she reached out to. She reached out to another person from the community as well prior to reaching out to me, and then I got brought into the conversation, and it was like, I was just talking to her today, and like, she tried to go make a report about it, and she was told, oh, it happened too long ago. There's nothing we can do about it. And I was like, hold on, I got you. And I pulled up the statute for New York State. I pulled up all that shit. I was like, nope, if you're over the age of 18, you now have 20 years as of 2019 because of statute CVP/213-C. I was like, yeah, no, fuck him. Like, go. I was like, you don't want to do it? Go over here and explain what the hell just happened. Like, I mean, we've seen it in our private groups too with other people since the documentary came out. Like, they haven't done interviews or anything like that, but like, just through Facebook, through the multiple Facebook groups, not a private one, like the public one, seeing the stories of survivors and people being like, yeah, I'm going to pull my son out tomorrow, or like, I am not, like, I was thinking about what to do with my son. I think I'm just gonna put him in therapy. Or my daughters really needed help. I almost made this mistake. I'm so thankful for this, and for everybody speaking out. It's like, bro, what? Hold on. It's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, it's wild.
But it's good, and it's progress, and it's progress towards what ultimately we're trying to do for it. And even if it's not even if it doesn't save like all of them, if we want to being successful in just getting some type of regulations established for any of these types of places that put it in a spot to actually help kids instead of this systematic behavioral fucking abuse, then it's a success. I mean, there's a couple of kids that we know for sure that have been pulled, that have not been sent now, parents that are aware of it, parents that have been estranged from their kids for years because of this.
Oh, yeah.
And have reached out to their kids that they wanted putting in there to talk to them. And while there are still some of the parents that are on the fence and not quite there to really have that discussion, the relationship mending that has begun, the bridges that are slowly being rebuilt, all of these things, it's all progress towards a very, very, very positive outcome. And it's not going to be an easy thing. It's definitely not going to be a quick thing. This is going to be something that's going to take years and years and years of work to do. But you know what? Every single step we take is a step in the right direction with what we're doing right now.
And I mean, it goes even deeper than that too, with like the families that have watched it and whatnot. It's really opening up eyes for a lot of people of like, my family is still so programized that they don't want to acknowledge it, or they're so ashamed that they just don't want to talk about it. And that comes from them being like, listen, we know we fucked up. I'm sorry. I still ain't fucking talking about it. It's like, but I need to. Like, I need to. Help me. And they just don't want to. So like,
well, because some of the parents are stuck in this whole, stop living in the past type of thing. And this isn't like something that they could just forget. Like, don't get me wrong. We've all suppressed a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And still to this day, there are random things that just kind of pop up, and it's frustrating. But is in the most formative years of your life, and you become brainwashed and programized in such a short amount of time. Like, it did not take long for so many people. I mean, there were people there that were only there for 3 months, and the scars run deep from the conversations we've had with other survivors, other airheads, other program kids. I'm calling them program kids. You can fucking deal with it.
We're program kids. We are. Like, yeah, we're adults now, but we're program kids. The scars run deep, and it did not take long for them to happen. So all these years later, the habits that formed from that place, from all of these places, there's just ingrained in you. So as all of this is coming to light and people are talking about it again, and people are starting to like dig into what made them who they are, they're all discovering a bunch of shit that's not fun. No, I mean, perfect example of that was when we were hanging out with one of our buddies on the web show, and he pulled out a fucking pen from Ivy Ridge, from air, the pen, and we bugged the fuck out for like 20 minutes. You and me, like, could not fucking focus over a fucking piece of shit pen. I'm actually getting mad thinking about that fucking thing. Like,
for a little bit of background on this. So in the program, in each of your families, there was somebody that you had a box of pens that was supposed to be divvied up to the whole family. One person was meant to hold on to that box and keep count of the pens. You couldn't lose a pen, otherwise you got a consequence. You couldn't have an extra pen, otherwise it was an illegal item. So it was like a whole big thing of having this box of pens. And we were hanging out. Actually, it was on one of the what's it called? It was on one of the web shows that we were doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was
on our second one. So we were sitting there talking about it, and he brought this pen out
of his binder.
It was the pen from the program, and the four of us that were in that call just lost our shit. I immediately yelled at him, and I was like, "Why the fuck do you still have that?" And he just threw it. But that was it. The damage was done from a singular pen that was in that place, and it was madness. I was so mad.
He yelled, "Why the fuck do you have that?" And I was like, I was just going, "Why? Why would you do this? Why?" I got up and walked out of my fucking office. Like, I left for like a good 3 minutes before I came back in. And my wife looked at me. She's like, "You good?" I was like, No. I was like, "A fucking pen." And she was just like, looked at me like, you're a pen? I was like, "A fucking pen. You don't understand this fucking pen." And like, I walked to the bathroom. I had like splash water on my face. I came back and I just looked at him and I was like, kick you in the dick. I was like, fucking, bro, I was so mad. I was so mad.
Yeah, such a visceral reaction from a single piece of plastic and ink. I was not happy. But
this isn't the pen, by the way. This is all he did. He like, we were like, oh, the pen boxes, and he just goes, and that was it.
You gotta think of it like something like that is just, it's such a strange reaction to something so simple. Like, we have pens, like, got a fucking pen right here. It's a fucking pen. Right like here. This doesn't mean shit, but you see something from that fucking place. And it literally, I had chills. My fucking skin was crawling. My blood went fucking cold. I was done just from looking at a pen, and I was like, fuck this.
Bro, I thought I was gonna puke. I thought I was gonna puke.
Exact reaction I had. That blood running cold and fucking the chills up your fucking spine. It's the exact same reaction I had to watching the opening scene of the documentary. Seeing the building again and watching them walk in, I was like, oh, and like just talking about it, like it's terrible. And
you gave me a legit chill just now because I flashed in my brain. I hate you.
Yeah, but like you got to think of it. So that was 18 years ago for us.
Fuck
18 years ago for us, dude. Yeah. We walked through those doors. And all this time later, it still had that level of an effect. Not even just that. Seeing the building, and then as the documentary went on, seeing the seminar room was a whole other fucking shit show.
I saw that room, and I just went, like, I remember sitting there, and, like, the seminar room popped up, and I just went, oh, shit. Like, right at my desk, hit pause, and, like, backed up. Like, I couldn't look at the screen for a minute. It was like, all right. And then, like, I kept going, but study hall and the intervention did that to me too when they showed the security footage and intervention, and then our fucking boy Quentin in fucking study hall, and I was just like, again, I paused it, I watched it alone for the first time, and like, I just sat here and I was just like covering my eyes, and I was just like, oh god, like I couldn't look up, and like I got dizzy, and then instantly was just like flashback. I was like, oh. Fuck! I was like, this is wild.
It was definitely, it was a lot to take in, and like, so I watched the first episode like on my own, and my daughter was out there, and we get to one of the scenes towards the end of it, and I was sitting like this with my arms fucking crossed.
Bro, me too.
I was squeezing so fucking hard, dude. I didn't even notice it. 2 days later, I had the biggest fucking bruise right here from my thumbprint. I was squeezing my arm so fucking hard.
Yeah, I
was just squeezing, dude.
See, I wasn't squeezing my arms. I had my hands dug into my ribs, and I just kept squeezing. The first time I watched it when it was just me, but then like when I watched it with my wife when we were out in the living room, I was sitting there like this, talking to her about it, just pressing my fucking fingers into my temple. I was like, I'm gonna burn into my brain.
I was analyzing that myself, and I was sitting there and I was thinking about it. Like when I was doing that, it was because I was feeling it the whole time, but like I wasn't feeling it, and it was kind of one of those things where like I needed to center myself because it was madness.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly. It was
fucking terrible, but I was like I had to have that level of fucking pain, and obviously it was enough. I fucking bruised myself from squeezing,
right?
Like it was crazy, but like you sit there and you see these things, and from watching this documentary, while it was such an amazing thing that they did, and it was a tremendous fucking piece of work that they put together.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Reliving just those minor moments of it, because again, it was as we mentioned previously in some of the web shows, it was very much girl side centric,
which is fine. Which is fine.
No, absolutely. But it didn't show, as many of the boys called it, and as Nick has mentioned plenty of times, the boy side was not. It was gladiator school, like 100% in that regard, because if you weren't just getting restrained or getting in or fighting, the dorm parents and everything else, you were fighting each other, basically. So they didn't they didn't show that side. And honestly, it's probably good that they didn't, and they showed more of the girl side for it, because if they would have showed more of the boy side, I don't think it would have been received as much. I think by them showing the girl side and how it went over there with Miss Sis and all of that, and when they went to, you know, interview her in the diner and they were talking about all this, just showing how nonchalant the female staff was. And the brainwashing portion on the girl side, I think, is what carried the message as well as it did.
See, but I also think that would help that is the times that they did mention the guy's side, right, the boy side, the times that they did mention that were super fucking impactful, right? Yeah. So you had Quentin describing how we had to sit in fucking study hall, and you had him going over that whole experience, and then they panned to Dom.
Yep.
In the no camera room.
Yep.
Which we had. I have a shit ton of experience in. You've experienced it once or twice. So like it was like, and the way he said it, like if you were in this room, it was fucking big boy time. Like it's like there's no, like you literally couldn't say it any other way. But
no. Even
though what they were talking about was girl centric, the footage they showed was all boy side shit. So
yeah, and to
that carried it all fucking.
Oh, absolutely.
That carried it heavy. And it was like, we don't really need to talk about it here. Look at this shit. And you see them watching it, like Nikki's reaction on the couch, bro. Oh, yeah. Dude, like
watching Molly fucking like jump back a little bit, and it was. But that's
all you needed. But that's all you needed.
There's been footage of cameras, of some of the camera footage that has been uploaded onto YouTube previously. It's actually been on YouTube for years.
About 4 or 5 years.
It's been longer than that. Some it's been on there for a decade or more.
Yeah, some of it's been about 11 years. The ones that have kind of circulated recently are ones from like the last 6 years, which, funny enough, isn't from anybody that was in the documentary.
Nope.
So I don't
because there have been airheads that wound up going back before then and going in and trying to save their younger self pretty much. So it's just weird. It's wild. All of this coming to light like this, and we didn't even really touch on this in our first episode because we kind of just did more of our introduction for it. But this literally wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for the documentary. And to let you guys know in advance, we are working on getting. I know there's going to be potential couple people that were in the documentary that are going to be coming on as guests for the podcast, but they currently they're remaining anonymous. So when the time comes, whether that episode is going to be live or recorded, we'll let people know in advance.
That'll be recorded. That'll be recorded, and that'll be for like subscribers or something because they want to try to be as anonymous as possible.
So there is something that we're going to touch base with, and we'll just kind of get more of a personal thing for it. While they went into plenty of detail as it is something that we are going to be doing as well. So yeah. I've already spoken to a couple of them. It is something that's going to be happening. So just stay tuned for that. That'll be somewhere down the line, not too terribly far, but just stay tuned, stick with us, and we'll get to that stuff eventually. But
yep.
So actually, my one of the other things I wanted to ask you about. So obviously, episode 1 was very much. Holy shit, what is happening? Oh my god, this is everything. Episode 2 was seminar brainwashing bullshit. But episode 3 was where it starts to follow the path. And yep. I want your take on that. Now I understand that why it needed to be there and the whole point of this, because it wasn't an attack on parents. I need people to understand this.
No.
Loud and clear that the documentary in and of itself, from Catherine's perspective, while yes, she had to work through things with her dad, it was not an attack on the parents.
It wasn't even an attack on her own dad. She wanted to document the journey that she was going through with her dad, because at the very end, they've reconciled. You see the end of that journey, and it was important for that to be in there. For her, I think, but also for part of the story. She wanted to share that. It wasn't an attack on her father, but showing that journey, because they touched on it in episode 2 about the parents, like with the seminars, about the brainwashing and shit, and like how deep it went.
That's what I wanted to touch on. So before we get into the whole thing of episode 3 and getting your take on it,
Yeah.
a lot of the responses that I've seen and a lot of the posts that are going around online, and even messages that I've gotten from family, their parents and other family members are watching this and they're taking it as it's an attack on the parents, and they're like, oh, one of the things that it doesn't really talk about is why people were sent there. And there's something that I need everybody to understand, and it's really, really simple. We are all very much fucking aware of why we were sent to the fucking program.
Yep.
We all know this.
Yep.
We know this better than all of you fucks. We get this. We understand it.
And
that's not the point of the documentary.
And we also all understand, like, yeah, we needed some direction in our life. Like, yeah, we probably needed some help in areas because of shit we were doing. But at the same time, a lot of the shit we were doing was normal teenage rebellious shit. And I don't know about you, but I don't think any kid deserves to be in hell for that.
So from seeing these responses and seeing what some of the parents and what some of the family members are saying, I just, for any of you that are listening to this right now, we know why we were there. We did the fucking time there. We were there. We had to relive every single mistake we've made since fucking birth in that place to be accountable for our fucking actions. We know why we were there.
Even made up
shit.
Need
to get out of the mindset that this documentary, this thing that was shining a fucking beacon on these programs, was not an attack on the parents, was not an attack on anyone aside from the creators and the people who ran the fucking place. That is what this was trying to showcase. The staff, the way we were treated, the brainwashing that didn't just happen to the kids that were in there, but to the parents as well. That's what you need to understand. It's not a matter of, oh, well, why were you there? And they're just mad at their parents. No, of course we were all mad at our parents at one point in fucking time.
Yeah.
We were sent to a fucking boarding school for God knows how fucking long, completely restricted from civilization, couldn't see anything outside of these fucking windows, couldn't look out the fucking windows, couldn't talk to each other. We know.
The guys that got arrested after the riot stated, prison was a fucking resort compared to what we were in. Trust me, we fucking know. We get it. We understand.
If you're gonna watch the documentary, you need to watch it with an open mind and not watch it from a place of getting attacked. And I'm sorry to do this, but don't play the victim. Just watch the shit.
Now, I have an interesting take on that as to why parents feel that way. It's an interesting take. I might catch some heat for this, but it's a take and a half, and even you're going to be fucking surprised that I'm, of all people, me, are coming up with this, okay? They're using it and using that as a shield for 3 reasons. 1, to not take accountability for what happened to us there. 2, to protect their own psyche, because if they acknowledge the fact that this happened and they don't see it as an attack, they hold themselves 100% accountable. You are a father, I'm a father. If I knew anything like that happened to one of my kids because I sent them there, I would lose my fucking mind and I'd go absolutely apeshit. I'd be in a padded room. I would 100% be in a padded room because I wouldn't be able to live with myself. And the third is because it's the only thing to them that makes sense, and they refuse to acknowledge that they made a mistake. And because the mistake is coming to light and how massive of a problem this is, it's, you're attacking me. No, motherfucker. We are showing you, like, hey, you may have fucked up. This is our olive branch. We want to talk to you about it. We've been trying to fucking talk to you about this for fucking 20 years, God damn it. Fucking listen to me, please, just for once. Just fucking hear me. Because all we want to do is be heard, and heal from this shit. Shut up.
Move on with your dicking, anyway.
Damn it. I'm never going to live that one down.
No, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And this is a conversation that I feel needs to happen, because there wasn't a small amount of kids that were there. At its peak, 480 students were enrolled in Ivy Ridge.
483.
over 1,700 kids wound up getting enrolled in that program over the 9 years that it was active. Over 1,700 kids. Over 1,700 different authority figures, parents sit there and now have to deal with the fact that this information is coming to light, and that's just from one program.
I was going to say, and that's just from Ridge. That's not counting Casa by the Sea. That's not counting CSA. That's not counting Dundee Ranch. That's not counting Eagle Nest. That's not counting Aspen. That's the fucking list just doesn't stop.
So by bringing this up and talking about this on here, again, this isn't us attacking you. This isn't us trying to get you to feel bad. That's not what this is about.
Not at all.
It's literally about the fact that when we got out of this place, we tried to tell you what happened in there. We tried, and we didn't even try to tell you everything that happened in there. We tried to tell you about the abuse. We tried to tell you about what happened. We tried to tell you about how the people were. Even if we didn't talk about the sexual assault allegations that have come about that have happened to certain people.
Not even
if we didn't talk about all of the deepest, darkest fucking shit that happened there, the things that people had to say to get the fuck out of there, the way that we had to treat other students, the way that we had to treat each other. Even if we didn't talk about that in general, we wanted to talk to you about it. We needed you to understand us then. Now is your opportunity to understand us now. It's that simple. It's not an attack.
And when you sit down and talk about it, you realize some shit on both ends. Like, sitting down and talking about it and going over it with my wife or being open about it as I have been with other survivors or, like, in the interviews, like, bro, I've realized some shit that I was doing that is 100% from Ivy Ridge. Like, for example, not getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, but instead pissing in empty Gatorade bottles. Like, religiously. Or out of a window. Because I did not want to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Years later, it terrified me. Even now, I'll hold my piss till I'm fucking about to wet the fucking bed before I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Just because I was sexually assaulted in the fucking bathroom. I was sexually abused in that bathroom in the middle of the night. Like, no. But I didn't realize that shit until I started talking about it. Like, parents, y'all gotta understand something, man. Like he said, we need to talk about it. This isn't an attack on y'all. Like, this is, like, we need to heal from this. But it's not just us that need to heal from it. Y'all do too. Like I said, y'all fucked up. And it's okay, because you didn't mean to. You didn't know what it was. There's no way in hell you could have known with all the layers of protection that they insulated themselves with. There's no way you could have known. It's okay to apologize. Now, once that's done, talk. That's literally all it is. It's talking, getting it out in the open. Both parties acknowledging, I fucked up. Yeah, Ma, I fucked up too. I put you in a bad situation. I probably, I know where I was fucking up. But at the same time, I didn't need to get the fuck beat out of me every day for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those discussions are what heal everything. Everything. Like, talking legitimately helps fucking more than I can explain. Because it's fucking saved my ass a lot.
It's simple. And I mean, I know there are still so many people that haven't seen it. And I know there are a lot of parents that are refusing to see it. And I just want anybody that listens to this, or even a survivor that may potentially listen to this somewhere down the line, if you have gone through something like this, or you were in one of these fucking programs, and the program documentary it's on Netflix, use it as a conversation starter if you need to. Use it as something, but find a way to have that conversation. And while I know not every parent is going to want to have this conversation, they're not going to want to deal with it for every reason that Nick had stated previously. At the same time, we, the letters that we wrote home in the beginning is everybody remembers their first letter they wrote. I found mine. Mine's 7 pages long, front and back. Just boom, 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 boom. Just begging. But the parents, they were told not to believe us. They were told that we were going to manipulate them, and the parents believed everything at the time because they were convinced that it was their last resort. And we know this. We're very much aware
And because we were manipulating them to get our way when we were home. We know that. We know we lied. Like, we ain't stupid. Like, I know I lied my ass off to my mom about what I was doing or where I was going. I snuck out. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, you know what I mean? I know I was fucking up at school. I needed to get shit done. You know what I mean? Like, I agreed with my mom that, yeah, maybe a boarding school would be helpful. And I told my mom, yeah, I need some help because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm losing my shit. I didn't know it was Ivy Ridge. I didn't pick it. No fucking idea. You know what I mean? Like, I know I was fucking up. All right, first
but we know this. Like, we know this. And we also know how the parents were spoke to. We know that they had to go through the seminars as well. And we get this. We do understand. But please, just, if you're going to watch a documentary, if you're going to try to have the conversation about it, go through with an open mind. Use it as a conversation starter. Use it as the foundation of what you're trying to build the topic towards. And just find a way to hash it the fuck out. Because Nick's right. If you wind up getting to the point where you can have the conversation, it may not solve it, but it will begin a very long and grueling fucking process of healing that so many people need to this day. And that's why we're here. We know not everybody's going to hear this. We know this is some small little fucking rinky-dink thing that two fucking survivors are putting together just to try and fucking help people out and give people a voice. As I've said previously, fucking at this point in time with how it is, with even those that we've lost and all the other programs out there, every voice counts or no voice counts. It's that fucking simple.
For those who cannot speak, baby.
This needs to mean something, not even just to us, but to everybody that's here supporting us live, that's here, that will be here supporting us in the recording when it's uploaded to all the platforms now. Like, we just use it. If you can't do it yourself, use us to be able to fucking help you.
Facts, 100%.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head. But you said you wanted to to touch on some shit.
Thank you for bringing me back. All right. Anyways, episode 3, your take on everything that happened with the thing and the stuff and the big fucking douchebag that's overseeing everything.
Bro, now, mind you, we had known most of that shit, right?
Yes.
When we got out, everybody in the program kind of fucking knew that shit. Why? Because we all started fucking looking into shit when we got out. So we know who.
The majority of us found out who owned the place while we were in there.
Yeah, like, and it's publicly known. Like, we knew who the fuck Narvin Litchfield was. We knew who the fuck Robert Litchfield was, or Bob. You know what I'm saying? Like, Butter. Fucking. Like, that's a publicly made email, by the way. Okay, Butter is the nickname of Jason Phillipson, who is in charge of fucking Ivy Ridge. That was Narvin's nickname.
Did you ever think in your life that you would say the sentence you just said, that somebody literally has the nickname?
No,
Butter.
No, and I refuse to call it that in my house now. Everything is now referred to as margarine because I refuse to say that word.
I can't believe it's not butter. Anyways,
I hate it. But like, it just made me more fucking mad. Like, it just pissed me off that much more. And then seeing, Narvin Litchfield's son speak about it. It's like, oh, you piece of shit. You put your own kid through this. Like, oh, you're a dirtbag. You really are. Like, that was how I was feeling. And then, like, you go through it and you listen to everything. And then you see the stuff that came out on, like, Facebook with his public statements of, I had nothing to do with Ivy Ridge. I knew nothing about Ivy Ridge, da-da-da. Meanwhile, there's public emails that have been released that of him, like, asking Finlayson, where's our money? Like, it's like, bro, like, and a lot of that was released and known about prior to the documentary, too, but now it's coming out in, like, hard copy. And it's like, bro, your email's right here. You called him Butter. He says love Butter in the response. The email is Jay Finney. Like, what? Huh? Help. Somebody explain. But, dude, it pissed me off, man. And it really shows you how deep it goes. And then circle back to some more recent shit. Dr. Phil got called out by fucking Bad Baby, also known as the fucking Catch Me Outside girl. You know what I mean? Like, she called him right the fuck out. And we all knew when we got in there. He pushes parents to send their kids to fucking behavioral modification schools. He still does this shit. It's like, are we waking up now? Are we smelling the potpourri? Because y'all fucked up. It's just, it blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe this is in the documentary. I didn't think they would let that be shown like to that extent, but they were like, "Cat, fuck you." Bang! I was just like, I was cheering for it and was like, fuck yeah. Then at the same time, I was like, ooh, this is gonna get ugly.
Well, yeah, the other side of that, I mean, it's due to the fact that it was a Netflix documentary. The Netflix legal team had to vet everything. They had to do their own investigation, find out that everything was provable, find out that everything was accurate. So it's not like this was just shit that was tossed in that wasn't able to be proven. It was verified fucking information that was put in there. And just seeing it just put out into the fucking world like that, I was goddamn.
Bro, and like them just throwing the like having all those pictures up and shit, I was like, oh no. I was like, this is gonna piss some people off. This is gonna get touchy. And it's pissed some motherfuckers off. we got the YouTube. I've deleted the YouTube comments to prove it. Boy, we getting some hate.
But it's all needed. It's not something that, if we want to make a difference, or if anybody wants to make a difference, we can't just sit here and be quiet anymore.
Nope. We were forced to silence for way too long.
So by this coming out and giving us the platform to be able to talk about it and discuss it, not even really in detail, because we don't really need to. It's not what we're trying to do at this point. Like, yes, we want the information out. We want people to be aware of these places. But my concern right now, and will still be for a while, is all of you that haven't had the opportunity to speak your truth. Haven't had your opportunity to come out and tell your story about your experience in the program.
Preach!
And that's where I'm sitting right now. So I want all of you to have a place, judgment-free, anonymous if you wanted to, have the ability to speak.
100%.
Not be limited, not be fucking restricted to what it is that you can say. I want you all to have your voice, to tell your story, and put your version of events out there into the world, because you never know. Your story may save someone's life down the line. You just don't know.
Yep.
So by giving people the ability to do so, just solidifies the work we're trying to do.
And on top of that, this is a little surprise for Jack too, because I didn't tell him about this. I'm in the process of reaching out to a lawyer for the podcast, because I want to make sure that if somebody wants to name drop because of their experiences, they can. Until that happens, though, before each podcast, when we meet with the guests, because we aren't going to just leave them alone in limbo, we're going to chit chat, you know what I mean? We're going to reiterate the fact, try to keep the staff names on the low if they haven't been publicly named or addressed in certain situations, because we don't know the legal ramifications of that just yet. Everything is allegedly, except for some of the videos that came out, which is something else we wanted to quickly touch on. I don't know if y'all have seen them. They've kind of been making the rounds all over Facebook of staff body slamming the shit out of people, and their names are plastered on the videos. Find those, share those, spread those, because they are pushing the right buttons on the wrong people, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Another thing, I know we're coming up on our time. Before
we could go 10 minutes over. It's not a big deal.
You have you're going to be going up to the what the fuck's it called? Protest
/ reunion. Yes, I am. I will be there. I land on the 26th. I'll be there the day before, and I leave the day after. But I will be up there. I'll be chilling with all the airheads and all the locals that want to come out and support us.
So me having to be, play the role that I play, just for anybody that listens to this beforehand, if you're going to be going and taking part in the protest and going to be there and going to see some of the survivors and other locals. Just please use your fucking brain. Don't any act of aggression or anything that can be taken as an act of aggression can hinder all of the work that we're doing and everything that's happening in the background. So please, for me, even if you don't fucking know me from a goddamn hole in the wall, just please, for me and the other survivors and everybody that's trying to do something with this and everybody that's trying to move on with their life, use your brain. Do not do something stupid. Do not go and confront staff. And if any fucking staff members are listening to this, don't be an asshole and go and confront any of the former students either. Stay in your fucking lane. Stay away from them. And let's not have anything stupid happen at this, please.
And I will have more than one phone going at a time. I'm going to be live streaming. And I have battery packs that are coming with me.
So in regards to that, he will be live streaming this, so we will be pulling the recording as he's live. We're going to pull the feed, and we're going to put it on here, so we're going to be able to talk and communicate with him and talk about it while things are going on and all that. So that'll be what's happening on the 26th, I believe, is the Friday.
The 26th is the day before. That's when everybody's linking up. So I will join you in here on Discord on my phone, and we will. I might be able to have somebody come join me. I don't know yet, unless we can get another guest who isn't going to be at the protest. We can get them on. I could join through that way, and then the protest is on Saturday. So I will be live streaming the protest on Saturday. I'm going to be live streaming it to our Facebook. And then from there, Jack's going to be able to rip it. And we're going to fucking edit it and whatnot. Maybe get some clips from it. See what we can pull from it. We're going to be posting that on our YouTube. Not going to be posting it on the Spotify, unfortunately. Except for the conversations that we have when he records that one. But I will be live streaming it. It will be on the Facebook, so make sure you guys go to Facebook and look up PorchFitcks Podcast, okay? Spelled just like it is on the title and on the banner, okay? Go to Facebook, find us, PorchFitcks Pod. It'll pop right the fuck up. Look for the fucking blue dude holding a blue pitchfork. And
hey, you said it right. Hold on.
Shut your ass.
No, but to let everyone know as well before we get to it, we have the Facebook pages up and running, PorchFitcks Podcast. We are on Apple Podcast, we are on YouTube, and we are on Spotify. So we are everywhere that we need to be right now. We are also on TikTok, PorchFitcks Podcast, PorchFitcks Pod. It's the same fucking name all the way around. If you haven't done so already, please go to the Spotify, go follow it, like it, subscribe, whatever the hell you need to do there. Same thing with the YouTube, Facebook, and even the Apple Podcast. It all helps to get the word out a little bit more. It puts our name out there a little bit more, and that's where we want to be with everything. So please just Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcast, PorchFitcks Podcast, search it, do all the stuff, share it, do whatever it is you need to do. Every little bit helps in regards to this.
And when you watch the content, leave comments, like the videos, but let us know if y'all want us to try to figure out a way to go weekly with this. Now, if we do go weekly, I'm just going to warn y'all, it's not going to always be 100% program stuff. We do plan on branching out at some point down the road, but this right here, program TTI, and putting that on blast is our main focus, our absolute number one focus. But if y'all want us to go weekly, let us know. We will try to do this every single week with other content as well. And we'll figure it out. We'll push through it. There's plenty of things for us to talk about. There's plenty of current events that are going to be coming on. There's plenty of stuff within this space to where if there is a demand for it, we will bust our ass and fucking do this for y'all. All right. But y'all got to go watch on YouTube, follow on Spotify, all that stuff. Comment. Let us know that y'all want this weekly. All right. And I'm going to put a poll on our Spotify after this. And make sure you guys answer that poll. Make sure you guys get into it. We're over the next couple weeks, we're going to be taking a lot into consideration. So, yeah, just fuck it. Like he said, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, YouTube. Go subscribe. Go follow. Hit the bell notifications. Like, comment, fucking, and spread it everywhere. I want this bitch to spread like the Black Plague on these sons of bitches because they ain't hiding no more.
And just to let you all know, so obviously currently we are still in the bi-weekly cadence. Next week it will just be the conversation live stream. We'll just be sitting here shooting the shit with you guys. That'll be the time where Nick will still be here. The week after that, which would normally be a podcast episode, it'll probably be a much more free-form type of situation. But we will still be live on that Friday night, just kind of shooting the shit and talking and doing all of that. And then based on the reception over the next couple of weeks of how things go, we will make the decision about going weekly or not and see where we're going to go from there. But for those that have been here, thank you all so very much for hanging out for the recording of this. Stay tuned. We are going to be going into the Q&A afterwards, so you don't have to leave. We'll keep the conversation going, but this is for the recording. For all of you plebs that aren't going to be here live, you suck, but at the same time, thank you for listening to us on the recording. You're awesome, and I love you.
And keep your eyes out for the sign-up sheet to be a guest on the PorchFitcks podcast, where you never quite know where the conversation might fucking head.
The PorchFitcks podcast?
Well, the PorchFitcks podcast, brother. I can't.
Shut the fuck up.
Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. We're ending this recording. Fucking love y'all. Tell the bald guy to go fuck himself in the comments. Love y'all. I'm out.
All right, and we're good.
And start recording for the Q&A.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Whoa.